importantly, bar humbug to us, we didn't even acknowledge it's Christmas today.
Look, I've got a little Christmas decoration.
No, but it's literally Christmas today.
Is it
if
Christmas?
Producer Gerald delivers this on time, I talk
really?
about myself in the third person, it's Christmas today.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm not feeling like it's Christmas today, but it's Christmas. I've got cherry brandy, which I've nearly finished. What is up, YouTube? It's James from Robin Henry Watches. So today we're going to be talking about Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches. Is that what they're calling it?
It is Certified Pre-Owned. CPO.
CPO. So there's loads... Actually, should we do a wristwatch check?
We should do a wristwatch check. Oh!
I'm wearing a Rolex today, but this is a vintage. It's a Rolex... I always say Cellini, but it's Cellini, isn't it?
I think if you're being... but it's like going into an Italian restaurant and being like, I want the bust. It's like, you don't do that, do you?
It's a beautiful 18 karat solid yellow gold. It's got this, some people call it pyramid, some people call it honeycomb case on the front. Loads of real estate on the back to get it engraved. Super cool. These are super good value as well.
But is it certified pre-owned?
By me it is.
Okay, yeah, that'll check.
And that's going to be the question, is where's the value going to lie? But anyway, this one isn't available for sale, but you can always reach out to me and we can talk about it. But it's got to go through the certified pre-owned scheme first.
Everything's for sale, Jimmy.
Everything is for sale. Right, so first of all, let's get into what is it? What do we know? So what we know is that Rolex has started and is rolling out through next year a certified pre-owned scheme, where essentially they're going to offer their own watches, which they're going to guarantee that they are authentic and that they're working for 2 years, and they'll give it a nice little new swing tag,
and
I believe a pouch.
Tag. Yes.
And you're going to be able to buy this from Rolex ADs.
And
not
a
all
card.
of them. Oh, sorry, there's a card.
Yeah,
beautiful
trading cards.
So that's valuable. It's available at some places already. Others are rolling out, like for...
Is it Bucheras at the moment? I think?
Yeah, and Watches of Switzerland's going to roll out next year, which is obviously UK, US now. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much to get into. My initial thoughts, I think it's a good thing.
It is what it is.
I think what it does is it offers choice to the consumer. So there's a lot of people which are too scared to go to a dealer, let's say like myself. I mean, okay, I do more vintage rather than, I don't really get involved in much of the hype stuff or really at all, the odd Submariner here and there, but I'm not selling new Daytonas. But I guess if you're that type of person that, you know, you need a blanket, you know, a wet blanket to go to sleep, or you have nightmares about such things. I'm joking here just to make the point, but if you want that 1 billion% guarantee that that watch is original, because some shyster like me might sell you a fake, you're going to get it.
It's there.
So,
also, you said you're not selling Daytonas.
I actually have.
That is a lie.
But I'm not selling like a brand new steel Daytona.
Or a Rolex.
Well,
anymore.
Not yet. What's going to be the benefit of? Let's talk about that. I guess you're going to get peace of mind. You know you're going to know it's genuine. I mean, any dealer, you know, look into them, because I would say that there's pre-owned dealers that are more reputable than authorized dealers, and there's certainly a case to be made that they're a lot more knowledgeable. But that's a further point, which we'll get into. I guess the real question is going to come on to the pricing, really. What do you value buying it from Rolex over someone else?
Do you value 30%?
So, well, let's talk about the pricing, because I think that's the main thing. Is what's in it for you? What do you care about as a consumer? A lot of it comes down to price. So, Watch Analytics, is that their actual page name?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, they've done some research over other people on the trolls on the internet, and approximately the prices are about 30% higher. So there was some crazy people saying, "Oh, the grey market's finished. They're gonna undercut them." And my thought on that was straight away is like, why would they do that? They're gonna destroy their brand. And also, where do you get all these cheap Rolexes from? Because otherwise we'd all do it. So obviously that's not the case. They're whacking a premium on it. There's one going round as well from Europe, Bucheras, Panda Daytona. In euros, guess the price.
In euros, Jesus Christ.
Well, we're not all too dissimilar from the Great British Pound these days.
25.
64.
Fuck.
Serious? Now listen, unless that was a really elaborately staged post, but the fact is, there's already been pictures of subs up at 19k. You can look at their pricing on, for example, Boucherat, if I'm probably butchering the name.
I think it's Boucherat.
Online. Their prices are insane. So who's benefiting here?
Rolex.
Or I would post it, they'll be benefiting.
Or the ADs.
The ADs. None of us know yet, so this is only speculation. How is Rolex going to run this scheme with their ADs and make money? They're not going to give the ADs money to go out buying watches for them. So I think the ADs always have to cough up for the refits and all of this and that and buying the stock, right? So they're probably going to have to pay up for the stock. So do Rolex just make money when you're the dealer, right? You buy in a Submariner, you have to send it off to Rolex for the certified pre-owned. Do they just get charged a fee and that's how Rolex is making their money? Or is it that when they sell the watch, Rolex gets a percentage? And also, who sets the price? Yeah. I mean, these are questions that will be answered.
And it's a very interesting point because at the moment, we've only got the 1AD chain to go off. So I think it is only Boucherat at the moment. So that 30% is based off 1AD. So will it vary by
that's the
AD?
thing. Who's going to set the pricing?
Yeah.
And also, the market fluctuates. Retail prices only change once, twice a year.
Yeah.
Or, 3 or 4 times a year if you're Amiga. Trying to keep up. I'm digging. But who sets the pricing? And also, anyway, I mean, so, there's the thing for it being over for the grey market, I would say, I mean, it doesn't bother me because I'd mainly do vintage and that's where I want to be. But it doesn't kill it. If anything, it validates the grey market. And suddenly the grey market prices look cheap.
Yeah.
And who's making all that margin? The ADs. Because let me tell you, who are you going to get a better price from? I mean, again, I'm speculating, I don't know. But let's say you've got your steel Daytona and you're like, oh, Jesus loves me. Right, I'm going to go and sell it. Are you going to sell it to an authorised dealer or are you going to sell it to a grey market dealer? I would bet, and I don't know, that a grey market dealer, pre-owned dealer, is going to give you more for it than Rolex. Because Rolex can put the squeeze on you. They got leverage.
Of course they can.
Because,
you want to stay in the good books?
Exactly. Oh, so we sold you this watch. It's the only legitimate way you can sell watches back.
Legitimate.
Well, to be fair, I just need to put a caveat in there. The example I gave you isn't correct because the watch, has to be 3 years old for them to take it on. So you're not talking immediate hype, but still a 3-year-old Panda Daytona is still a hype watch. So maybe that's not the best example, but you get the picture where you're going to get the better price. But you can trade back to your AD to stay in good favour with them to still get more watches. There's so many points here because here's the other thing.
Will it count against you because you're selling watches, even though it's legitimate?
Is it going to be some sort of like currency on their system that they know what you're buying and selling? So it's like you're getting brownie points for selling it back.
But are you getting brownie points because you're also, in theory, if you're selling your watches and you're not keeping them, you're poorer, which means you've got less value to Rolex.
Well, no, you've got more money because they're giving you money back.
Yeah, but they're having to give you the money. You haven't just got the money to keep spunking out on a Rainbow Daytona or a Meteorite. Well,
here's the other thing. You're a new customer or newish. You go in and you say, okay, I want a Rolex Submariner. Be like, well, the new one's, what's the new one? 6-7 grand?
Yeah.
I don't know. Fair enough, thereabouts. And they're like, well, I can't sell you that. And you're like, well, why not? And they're like, well, you're not a big deal. We don't really care about you. But you can buy this Daytona here for 17 grand. Submariner, sorry. I know, I've been drinking the brandy.
It's good brandy.
I've been sipping the juice. So you're going to be, as a customer, sorry, I want the new one that's cheaper, but you want to sell me one that's like 3x the price. That's pre-owned and at least 3 years old. And here's the other thing,
and
right?
with nearly a quarter of the guarantee.
And here's the other thing. Are they going to... You know how there's like all these stories about ADs making people bundle stuff up and buy jewellery and buy like Tag Heuer or something horrible like that to get a Rolex, right? Are they now going to do that to you but with pre-owned?
Yeah.
Also, now
you can get nicer pieces, but they're pre-owned.
So you got to buy our 30 grand Daytona if you want a new GMT.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to be like...
So many questions.
For me, ultimately, the only person who's winning here is the ADs and Rolex.
Yeah.
The consumer isn't losing out because you do have more choice.
There's more market variance, yeah, definitely.
But it's really going to come down to, as a consumer, a watch buyer, how much value do you put on it coming from Rolex? You get the authenticity guarantee.
Great.
But here's the other thing. Now, everyone keeps saying to me, and I'm challenging it, I'm not saying that I'm right. Everyone's saying, oh, they're servicing them all. Well, if it's got a 10-year service interval, like the modern Rolex do, why would they service a 3-year watch? And if you go on the website and you look at the, I've only skim read it, I've done my usual quality fact
Should have
checking.
researched.
But what it actually says is, let me bring up the wording.
It's very specific, but also vague.
So they're saying basically, so it guarantees that these watches benefit from the quality criteria inherent to all Rolex products and from the full know-how and professionalism of the brand's worldwide knowledge of experts. But nowhere here does it say, okay,
That's a long way of saying it's authentic.
So the little tag, it says, this exclusive title attests to its authenticity on the date of purchase and proper functioning and is accompanied by an international 2-year guarantee. Nowhere does it say in here that they service the watch. What they say is they check its authenticity and that it's working correctly.
And they trust their own construction, basically.
And also, I'd have to sort of say as well, if the watch is only 3 years old, do they need to service it? I'm sure if a watch needs a service, they will service it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
they're not guaranteeing a service.
I don't believe that they're guaranteeing that it's serviced.
They're guaranteeing the product is genuine, and the product is, because it's genuine, it's Rolex, so it's good, so it should live up to its original standard.
You think, it's... The other thing is, when all these ADs go out to buy these watches, there's going to be it's going to push up pricing as well, I believe. So let's say you're an authorized dealer with Rolex, you get the nod from, the secret handshake foundation, right, that you're allowed to do this. You can't just buy in 10 Rolex watches and put them in your case.
No.
Because what you've got to do is you've got to buy your 10 watches and then you've got to send them off to Rolex to get certified pre-owned. And how long does that take? Well,
exactly.
We all know how that goes. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months?
And will it be quicker?
No.
I suppose it doesn't
matter. So the
reality
reality is, let's say if they're going to offer 10 watches, I'm sure they'll offer more because they've got nothing else to sell. Let's say they're going to offer 20 watches, right? They're probably going to have to buy like 60, 70 watches to have a pipeline because, each time that one's going off, they've got to... Do you know what I mean? So suddenly there's going to be hardly any watches left, right, exactly, on the pre-owned market. Then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Prices go up. It's going to be very interesting to see how that all goes.
And that's the other thing. Can anyone take in their watch and so-called sell it? Because we know there are far more subs out there than there are Panda Daytonas. So if 3 people have gone into Mappin and Web this week and gone, can I sell my Submariner, and taken them, if I go home with my sub tomorrow, are they going to take it? Because they're like, well, we've got 3 already.
Well, yeah,
It'd be like Watchfinder.
To be fair, it could be, yes, like any other pre-owned dealer. There's no, they don't have to take your watch in.
No, so that's the other element.
And the other thing is, will they then push the price out? Who dictates the pricing? That's what I mean.
This will be the new level of Rolex comedy. It's no longer you have to be on the list to be able to buy one. You're going to have to be on the list to be able to sell them. You have to be the right kind of person to be allowed to sell them your fucking watch.
And who determines? Are Rolex going to tell them what they have to buy and sell, or are the ADs getting freedom on that? Because the AD might turn around and be like, I'm going to pay you $5,000 for your sub. I'll pay you $6,000. I'll pay you what you paid back for it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, no, I ain't doing that. They'll be like, well, next time you come in here for a watch, I want to be seeing that one on your wrist.
Yeah.
Right? Because they've been known, factually, this isn't speculation, they call people back to check on their watches. And I'm there like, I ain't got nothing. But you can come and sit
quick, so I need to buy that watch.
But you can see my house. But there's other people locally that I'm not going to name them, but I know of 3 different people, in fact 4, although I don't directly, speak to that person really, but that have been called up and been like, they want to see your watch.
Is the person you don't speak to someone who generally wears Amigas instead?
No, we're probably talking at cross purposes.
Okay,
although I do know of someone that bought a watch from Mappin and Web, sold it to said dealer, right? And then got the call, and then they had to go back to that dealer, pick up the watch, take it back into Mappin Web, and then return it back to said dealer.
That's so bad.
But listen, that's not on that person. That's on Rolex and the ADs. Was the ADs play these games? Because let's be honest, Rolex isn't calling up, from Rolex Island, on like the top of some mountain in Switzerland, like, yeah, get them here. No, it's the ADs. They're controlling the market and they're playing these games. And the other thing is, do you want to sell your watches to these people? I'm not saying you do, you don't, because there's some really nice people that work in the ADs. There's some knowledgeable people. But like any walk in life, there's idiots. I mean, we're quite lucky over here. The ADs, they're friendly, they're nice. So I got nothing to say. I'm not saying it about them. I'm just saying it about...
We read the horror stories.
We do know out there that there's Rolex ADs that have been accused of racketeering.
Yes.
That's not me saying that. You can Google that. We know that there is snobbery at some ADs, and if your face doesn't fit, you're not getting a watch.
And let's be honest, there's more nefarious things behind the scenes. There's probably a bit of going on.
And, that's it. There are some people, the classic story that, I have a friend over here that one of the times that he went, this was many years ago, he turned up in his tracksuit and went in, and the guy in the door was like, when they used to have one on the door, I'd be like, well, what are you doing? Like, I'm going in there, and it's like that treatment. So there's some people which will, some people won't. I don't know. There's a lot.
There's more questions than answers right now, which says something about their messaging, because it's smoke and mirrors again.
Yeah,
it's like Amiga and the Moonswatch. It's like, we just don't talk about it anymore, and it will all work itself out.
Here's the other thing, another one, right? When you get into neo vintage, and we don't know how far back they're going to go on watches, right? But let's say if you're talking vintage, there's no two watches that are the same, right? We also know this: Rolex does not. I don't want to use the word care, but it doesn't put a value on what, as collectors, we call true originality.
Yeah.
So, for example, you send in, your vintage Explorer.
Let's send in that 5513 you've got today.
Yeah, right, okay. So you send that in.
Beautiful loom on the dial.
Oh no, the hands are plots. They've gone yellow. Therefore, by Rolex standard, is defective.
Yeah.
Swap it out for a service dial. Rolex will call that watch all original, but us on the market or as collectors will be like, no. That's a service dial, devalued watch. It's worth pennies on the pound to one with the original dial, the original hands, the patina, the loom, the full casing,
and
the
then
bezels.
They'll still have the gall to charge the premium on it.
Yeah, even the bracelet, is that original? But they'll swap it out, and let's be honest, there'll be some ADs, they won't be able to give you the answer to that question. Is that original?
Imagine if I sent that in. That would be awful. I'd get a black dial date.
Exactly. So are they going to disclose that? I don't think that they... I mean, again, it's another question. It's not a statement of fact, but I don't believe that they will. And I don't believe that there'll be the knowledge... And this isn't a diss to the salespeople, because there are some really knowledgeable people in ADs, but there's also a lot not. Because you have to remember, we're hobbyists, right? Okay, I'm in the business, but I would say before I'm in the business, I'm a watch collector first. I'm still more, interested in it. It's just an extension of my hobby. But these people, it's a job for them, and that's fair. People have got jobs, and you do it because you've got to make money, right? But they're not going to be like, right, well, that's a Mark IV dial, and this is a Mark III. Oh, that's a service. They're not going to know.
No.
And they're not going to care. And we know that Rolex doesn't care. I'm saying don't care.
Care is the wrong term, but
they don't put a value on it.
Yeah.
So they're going to swap stuff out like that. And these watches are going to get ruined. Yeah. If you're a true collector, surely you're still going to want to go to a vintage specialist. And there's so many knowledgeable guys and businesses out there which will cater to you way better than what Rolex will be able to.
And as soon as this comes out, you'll see so many more service dials and service replacements on the market as well. It'll be flooded with it. There'll be so many vintage so-called watches.
Well, we don't know how far... They haven't said, we're only buying watches up to this age. The only thing they've stated so far is they have to be 3 years or older.
But say you send in that 551, right? So follow a timeline here. You've got the 5513 we've got in the shop right now. You send it in, sell it, certified pre-owned. Rolex does the thing. They swap out the dial. It's all service replacements. Later, get sold to a client. Do they then get told what's original and what's not?
My guess is no.
Exactly.
But what Rolex will say is they're original Rolex parts.
Yeah. Which
they are.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a fake. It's just a service replacement. But it's what value do you put on that?
It's
So yeah, it's not. So if, I would say to someone, if they were going to buy a watch and they say, "Oh, James, what do you think?" I'd be like, "Listen, if you want to do it," but I'd be like, if it was a like near vintage, I'd be like, for me, I'd be like, don't do that. I'm not saying come to me, but I'd be like, well, there's all these great dealers out there worldwide that you can go to, buy online, go in person, and maybe that's why. But I don't know. I mean, in terms of how does it affect vintage dealers and pre-owned dealers? At this stage, for me, I would say it doesn't. If anything, it benefits them.
Yeah.
Long term, though, obviously, we don't know what Rolex's plan is. And like any great business, they're not thinking about next year or the next few years. No, they're thinking about the next 10, 20 years. Yeah. And that's what successful businesses do. So for all we know, they might hoover up the whole market, right? Hold billions of pre-owned Rolex. And then they might bring the market down slowly over like a 10, 20 year period where it's quite similar, but where they can still protect their brand image. Because the Muppets that we're saying, if you
guide the market down slowly, it looks more like an economic factor. It's not the brand.
And also, you can still hold. It could still be that like a sub is 10 grand at retail, but pre-owned it's 11. It's not too dissimilar. But all these Muppets that were like, they're gonna sell it at less. And so it's like, you idiot. They're like, oh, the grey market's dead. It's like, okay, no. Who's gonna sell them cheap Rolex? No one.
I mean, there's an argument to say Rolex could bully them into selling them cheap, but is that going to work on everyone?
No, it's just not. You're just going to be like, I've still got my watch. They'll be like, let me see it. Be like, no.
Still watch. Is that the time going to have to be going?
So on that note, I think we're done.
But
anyway, let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. I never ask people to do that. Like, my videos are like... I don't want to be upsetting people here as well. So I'm like, who's the name of that last guy that left a really mean comment?
He was a dick. I don't know.
Oh, he was like, oh, but there wasn't even a real watch in the review.
I feel like his name was Aaron or something.
No, it wasn't.
It's
a super limited watch that's like 140 grand. Sorry, I didn't buy that for the review.
Yeah.
It's not objective at all. Well, actually, it depends.
Nothing's subjective.
Well, my subjective opinion might be objective to me. It's not at all.
Yeah, no. Well,
but
Merry Christmas.
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll reply to them and let me know your thoughts, especially if you've got any experience so far, or maybe if you work in one of the ADs and you want to like give me a little scoop on something. I'd be dead interested to know.
And more importantly, bar humbug to us, we didn't even acknowledge it's Christmas today.
Look, I've got a little Christmas decoration.
No, but it's literally Christmas today.
Is it
if
Christmas?
Producer Gerald delivers this on time, I talk about myself in the third person, it's Christmas today.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm not feeling like it's Christmas today, but it's Christmas. I got cherry brandy, which I've nearly finished.
I'm going to change this into the opening sting.
I'm going to go up and have a festive Guinness as well to finish my evening off.
Yes. And
Merry
Cheers,
Christmas.
everyone. Bye.